Hi, I'm Davina Shemaya, and just like you, I'm recovering from complex post-traumatic stress disorder and narcissistic abuse. And today I would like to talk about the shame flashback. And I've found it one of the most difficult things to um, just try to manage, or I guess I'm always trying to get out of it, which I think the biggest thing is to try not to get out of it because I think what I was learning yesterday was that I was just so caught up in my head. There's all this shame going around, like just this general sense of like, just I'm not good enough. I'm not, and then it kind of goes on and on, like I'm not engaged enough, and I'm not lively enough, and I'm not doing enough, and it just goes on and on. Um, and I think then I was getting caught in trying to talk myself out of it, or like, so that it becomes very, very just mental. And that's what shame kind of wants us to do, is to get really caught up in here and forget that, oh yeah, I'm in this body and I'm here on this earth, and my thoughts aren't even true, really. I mean, my thoughts are just thoughts. Is just like a TV program. And um, so it's shame is so incredibly painful. At least I find it just sometimes excruciatingly painful to sit there, and I'm trying to engage, and just feeling so disconnected and just in my head, and just feeling horrible about myself. And it's just at the end of the day yesterday, just feeling like, oh my God, that was my day. There was hardly like any kind of joy there. I mean, shame just sucks the joy and the connection out of, you know, it's it's not it's really yeah. And I think it just comes with, letting go of, I think the more I grieve and the less denial I have, the shame is, I think, getting a little bit less, but it's painful. It's so painful to be aware of that shame that's going on. I mean, I lived so long without even knowing it was there, and now knowing it's there, it's really tough to deal with. Um, and Pete Walker has probably, the best book out there on C-PTSD and managing flashbacks. So check out his book, check out his website. He even, he has a page that you can download on managing flashbacks. And I'll just give you some of the tips in particular for shame, which can be so sticky. At least for me, it's so sticky. Yeah, like being covered in like gunk, and I just can't seem to get it off. It's like, but I think most important thing is to remember it is a flashback. That's probably the number one thing, is this is a flashback. Pete Walker calls it an amygdala hijacking. So you don't have any control over it. Like, this feeling has taken over, just like just like a wave. And it's not something you can think your way out of. I think that's where I was yesterday. If I just think positive and give myself some affirmations of I'm so great, that it will fall away, and it doesn't. And that can be even more frustrating and lead to more shame. Like, oh no, I can't even get out of this flashback. What a loser I am. Um, so it can just be shame on top of shame on top of shame. And so it's really important to just know, like, number one, this is a flashback. I really don't have control over this. I can try to manage it the best I can. But I find that, really the only thing that gets me out of a flashback is getting completely into my body through like a deep session of yoga nidra. And so that is number two, is getting into the body, The mind will try to trick us and just like, okay, but you can just think your way out of this and try to fix it and try to change it and try to, maybe if I just do this, I'll get out of the shame. But it's really just getting out of the head into the body. And, if you're at work, or, you don't have a time to do a meditation or, a body scan, then, just trying to like connect with your feet, maybe try to connect with your breaths, take a few deep breaths, see if you can feel your heart beating. Yeah, I mean, I definitely, number one, would recommend, like if you have a chance, just lay down and do a half an hour body scan where you're just scanning your body, naming your different body parts. Okay, my hand, wrist, forearm, elbow, and just go around your whole body like that. And, it seems like a simple thing, but it's really quite deep and it's really quite profound. Just doing that very simple exercise. And what it can do for you. So, or what it's done for me anyway, I believe it's powerful. So that's not absolutely, it really, really important. So one is just naming that you're in the flashback, and like, number two is getting into the body. Number three is also very similar to this, and it's, getting into your senses as well. So shame takes us out of our body, out of our senses. So I find listening especially can be really, really helpful, because as soon as you start listening, then you're not able to think. It's kind of interesting. So, listening to the birds outside, or listening to some music really carefully, listening to someone else maybe talking and really kind of trying to catch what they're saying. So really just suddenly just turning it sort of, so instead of inside your head thinking you suddenly like go out and you're focusing on, I can now hear the birds outside, or maybe you can hear your refrigerator, or whatever it is. Tune into the sounds around you. Or you can also try like smells, or touching something. One time I was like making muffins, and it was just a very sensory experience of carefully measuring everything and the mixing and the different textures. And I found like, wow, this is getting me so present and engaged and in the moment. So that's number three, is to get into your senses, whatever way you can, try listening. Number four is very similar to that, and that is to get engaged in what's going on, to get engaged in life, because again, the shame will say, you're separate, you're not enough, you're, and it makes you feel like you're kind of outside, like you're on, the bench, you're like a bench warmer, and there's the basketball game going on, and you're like kind of just sitting back and kind of watching, but there seems to be like something there that you can't quite kind of break through. So shame makes us feel very separate. And that's also part of the real pain, is feeling separate and not connected. So if you can, get engaged in the details of life, like look someone right in the eye. I find that sometimes really helps. If I just get up really close and look the child that I'm taking care of, like look them right in the eye, look at their face, notice a freckle on their cheek, or, notice something you've never seen before. Look out your window and look at the details. Again, I find like if I try to pinpoint things that I've never seen before, like, I've never noticed that little orange thing over there, or whatever. So sort of like really getting yourself more engaged in the moment, because when we're in a flashback, we're really just thrown back into the past. We're just, kind of overtaken by this, by these feelings. So coming back into the present, so key, and getting engaged can really help. us to feel like more connected and I'm part of this life and I belong here. Where am I now? Like number, I don't know if I was number 3 or number 4. I think that was 4. Self-compassion, really, really important. And just try not to get too caught up in your head, because even telling yourself things of self-compassion can get kind of heady, like kind of mental. So keep it, make sure you're in your body first, and then, start offering yourself compassion. I know this is so hard. I know this is so painful right now. I'm so sorry for what you're going through, and like try to give yourself that compassion. And I would say kind of keep it brief, don't go on and on, because again, it can just kind of get into a mental exercise, and that even can be taking you away from the present. And what's here is your body in the present. And my last suggestion is mantras. And that has definitely helped me in the past. Again, I think, you got to do the first steps first into getting into your body. And then, if you do a mantra, and then you're doing something that's really mindfully present, even if it's just like washing dishes and saying a mantra, but, still really focusing on what you're doing and the bubbles and the water, and like just, it just helps. Like if you're doing your own mind loop, it'll, cancel out some of the other crap that's going on in there. So I hope that was somewhat helpful for you today. And yeah, shame is, it's really just a really painful thing. And to remember too, like that, it's, yeah, you're not a shameful person. So if you just even say, as Pete Walker would say, just repeat to yourself, I am feeling shame. I'm feeling ashamed, but I am not a shameful person. So naming that shame can also be a powerful way to kind of get yourself a little bit of distance from it, because otherwise it just feels like, oh, I am shameful. So if you say, I'm feeling ashamed, it just gives you that little bit of space. And yeah, so I think that's how I'm going to end there. I'm wishing you many, many blessings on this journey of healing and awakening. And I am Davina Shemaya at Boldness Blooming. Thank you for watching. You are worthy.